anything of a surprise to the table. Weir wants to keep it stand up, long range. Jack wants to cut down the distance and take it straight to the ground.
So I've got to be honest, guys, looking at Mark Weir, you usually see signs of a smile or a little bit of relaxation. He looks very, very focused tonight.
Well, he has to be, because he's got a powerhouse in front of him, and a powerhouse that's evolved his upright game, and Mark will know all about his ground game. This, to me, deserves to be top of the bill here tonight. What an incredible potential matchup this is.
Now, the important thing for Jack is he can't let Mark dictate the fight, meaning set up his feints, throw the kicks. He's got to pressure and cut down that distance and take this down to the mat as soon as possible.
Well, Pierre, being blunt, we saw what happened to Mark the Beast Epstein when he allowed that to happen, when he was drawn into the range that Mark Weir wanted to fight.
Whoa, big opening from Mason with big flying hooks.
And he went for the single leg, Rob, straight away.
Now, he's got to be careful because Mark does know ground. Mark is keeping his legs based out. He's trying to grab the crotch here, or the single leg, just to prevent Jack from finishing or completing this shot.
And let's be honest, Mark's legs are very, very agile and flexible.
I mean, he's constantly he's got very active hips, because that's what allows him to get back up to the top. Jack's got to be careful that Mark doesn't loop over that leg and take his back.
That's what I was just about to say. We're almost trying to step over, but Mason does a good job, turns his shoulder in, tries to keep that leg flat to ground. But Weir, great work up on his arm, kicks his legs round. Mason still trying to work him for that takedown, trying to keep hold of the single leg, but Weir seems to be doing a great job of getting those underhooks.
And I'm telling you what, Weir probably worked this day in, day out. Up against the fence, out in the open, just take down defense. And right now, it looks like it's paying off.
Well, Pierre, picking up on the point you said earlier when you said there's no surprises here, this is because this is two very well-known men, and they are huge knees from Weir to the head of Jack Mason. As you said, these men, there's no surprise in the game. They know what's coming. But, Rob, those were two vicious knees from Mark Weir. That's right. Mason looked a little bit shocked from those. As you said, two heavy knees, one to the thigh as well.
Now, if you see, Mark has got Jack's hand trapped, and I mean, again, he's using that to throw his punches because he's not able to defend but with one arm. He'll throw the punches in, and then he'll try to throw the knees in. Jack has to advance his position, stand straight up, get that hand control back.
Well, with the flexibility in those legs of Weir, Jack has to worry about having that right arm trapped there, Pierre, because that right knee can come round from that flex. There it goes, a little sweep attempt as well from Mark Weir.
Now, Mark is taking the back. Jack's got to be careful. He's got to straighten, he's got to posture up, and he's got to defend against those knees. Weir has very, very long knees, and he's able to get them up very, very easily.
That's right. Almost catches ahead of Mason again there. Again, Weir kicks the back of the legs, drops his opponent down.
Now, this is a little bit of a surprise for us. Weir is actually initiating the takedowns. However, he's doing it with a position of domination in that he's taking it down with him being on top of Jack's back.
Well, he's able to keep pure control. Let's be honest, he's got that arm still across the body of Mason. He's kicking away the backs of the legs of Jack Mason, and he's not giving Jack the opportunity to turn in. He's fighting a very, very smart fight, Weir, at the moment.
Now, back elbow by Jack. That's a smart move. He lands again. However, Weir is still throwing the punches up and through the middle. And again, it lands solid.
That's right. Weir was almost waiting for the back elbow to come up there so he could fire the right hand underneath.
I mean, that's just a crafty and wily veteran.
Looking at Jack's face, I'm not convinced he's fully recovered from the solidity of those first two knees. They really were strong.
Now, Jack is trying to go for a Kimura. However, he's not able to make the connection because Weir has really dominated that hand control. And again, that's someplace you don't want on Mark Weir is your back. And he's got to be careful with the tie clinch.
Another punctuating knee from Mark Weir.
I'll tell you what, I was holding my breath for a lot of that because that was a very dangerous position that Weir had Jack Mason in.
As I said, I still think Jack's shaken from that.
Well, he needs to try to ride out the last couple seconds of this round, clear his head, and get some instruction from the corner. But again,
what he doesn't need, Pierre, is to be at this range. No. This is the range he does not need to be at.
No, he needs to be cutting down the range off of punches or off of his punches, but he needs to change level, come in, but he's got to be aware of the...
Oh! And Weir took a stumble off the back of that. I think he lost his balance as it landed, but that's where he's dangerous.
Kick, Rob, and that's the range that
The
Jack
lucky thing for Jack that saved him on that was it landed with the bottom of the foot and not the heel. That's where the smack came from, and that was the saving grace for Jack Mason on that spinning kick.
Pierre, if that was the heel, this fight would have been over now.
Yes, without a doubt. Jack has got to keep that guard up, and he can't let Weir dominate the distance.
Well, you see Mason skip round there, circular. Doesn't want to get caught going backwards.
And that long range.